Welcome to Ploughmans Backyard. My name is Kendra. It's been a while since we have uploaded a garden vlog. Usually I do one in the spring, so I'm just going to kind of share with you what has been the progress so far on our garden. As you know, we start most of our plants by seeds indoors in the winter just to make the season of our garden a little bit longer. This year it was the second year in a row that we have purchased Pro Mix soil from Costco. It's a good deal and I've always really loved using the Pro Mix. However, this is the second year in a row that we have had horrible outcome with using that soil. The started plants are not doing that bad, but we went through a lot just to get these tomatoes and things that we have growing here to where they are. Things just wouldn't grow in it. Had to go and switch to a different soil. I even went to the dollar store and picked up some cheap soil, had better success with that. A little bit disappointed in that because I really like getting a early start on the garden just because we have such a short growing season. I just found like a ton of eggs. Been following our channel, you know that kind of this run was the last run built before we did our coop. And it's kind of been where I've been keeping like my specialty birds, like the blue lace red Wyandottes. We got the new coop up last fall and we moved the birds over there. This kind of coop has been kind of sitting vacant over the winter, but I opened it up and allowed the barnyard mixed chickens to come in here just because they can break up the ground and move it around a lot. And I knew I needed to gut this out. So this was going to be converted into where I have my chicks, my started chicks, when I get them from their brooder box and then move them over here because it's got its own little door. It's got everything it needs to allow the chicks to grow up and be protected. We've got some nice hardware cloth all around us so nothing can get in here. I went to open up this door because, like I said, it was used for the blue lace red Wyandottes all year round before this year. So there's nest boxes in here. We have a broody hen in the barn. She's been sitting on eggs and I've just been thinking she's been collecting all the eggs under her, which they normally do. Other chickens will go in and lay there and she'll put them under her, which is normal. But I have another nest box in the barn as well, and I've been getting 2 or 3 eggs a day, and I'm like, okay, well maybe they're just all laying under her, and I'm not going to dare touch her because she's kind of a nasty hen in there, but she's sitting on them, so I'm not going to bug her. I thought, okay, well they're just all laying under there, but now I know why I'm only getting 2 or 3 eggs a day. Anyway, so I'm in here and I found they are laying eggs in the old nest boxes, these barnyard mix. So I have not been out here since the fall. And I know that when I took the blue lace red Wyandottes out of this coop, there was no eggs in here. And you can see, like, I haven't cleaned since the fall. It was kind of so late in the season that it was almost snow. And I took everything out and I hadn't cleaned in here. But my plan was to clean this spring. They got in here before I did. And I guess this is why I'm only getting 2 or 3 eggs a day from these guys, because they've been laying in here instead of in the barn, which is totally fine. But now I know I need to come out and check these. This is the back of that coop where the eggs are. So, hey, Doug, come. Some eggs? Yeah. All right, right here, Doug. There you go, buddy. Like I said, I really need to clean out in here. Yes, Doug, I know. We're gonna need to take all these eggs out. I'll just set them down here. He can grab them as he wants. 16, 17, 20 eggs in here. I gotta clean in here, but Doug can finish these bad boys off. You liking those eggs? He's thinking he hit the jackpot today, which he did. Doug, you're funny. Cleaning the chicken coops is pretty important, especially since we do like a deep litter method over the winter. And as things are drying up, just means I need to get out there because as soon as I can get the chicken coops cleaned up, hopefully the garden will be ready to work and get into. As you may have seen in the previous video, we hatched out some of our blue lace red Wyandotte chicks. So we also need to get them outside. So in order for me to bring out the young chicks outside, in order to give the chicks a fresh start and a healthy start, I like everything to be really cleaned up before I put them outside. As you can see, they are well grown and they have done exceptionally well considering all 18 of these I had to assist with hatching. And this year I actually have someone interested in my barnyard mix. And I just kind of want to focus on just one kind of breed for now. They're going to be going to a good home, to a nice family. Then we got into the garden. We were able to get the garden tilled. We ended up putting amendments in it. I don't know if you've seen that, but we put some amendments in the garden last fall to really help the nutrition and the soil health of this garden. So I'm looking forward to seeing it being more bountiful this year. I'm hoping. I'm just actually planting my beans, my zucchini, my chard, and my beets. These things ended up doing really well. They ended up growing. They're actually doing really well right now in the garden. But I was so happy to finally get out and get some things planted in the garden. With all the rain, the grass was growing. I'm telling you, we were mowing the grass when there was puddles of water within the grass. And I know we probably shouldn't, but it was getting so long. The next thing that I will say is we ended up purchasing some new blueberry plants. So we have about 6 blueberry bushes from about 4 or 5 years ago we planted. These are high bush blueberry plants. We ended up picking them up from some Mennonites. The ones that we have have grown quite a bit, but they're not quite where I expected them to be. I'm not sure if it's because they have a lot of competition. So we're going to work on kind of clearing up some of that area so they're going to get more sunlight and less weeds. This area of the garden is usually where I would plant some of my other things like my onions. I've done peppers, I've done kale here, I've done cabbage here, but I don't have a lot of success in this area for some reason. I don't know if it's the soil, I don't know if it's the location, I'm not too sure. So because I have the ground cloth already down, I'm going to use this to plant some more blueberries so that I can kind of keep track of where they are and keep the weeds down, hopefully to a minimum. Finally got these into the ground. I probably had them sitting outside in the pots for about a month. I was able to get them planted. I'm adding some sulfur to the ground, as well as there's this spring fertilizer that I'm adding that you can get at Whiffletree. So I'm adding that as well. And I'm hoping that these will surpass the ones that I planted about 4 or 5 years ago. Again, they're pretty much the same varieties. I think I've got North Blue, Patriot, Blue Crop. There's a few different ones that I planted. It's always best when you're planting fruit trees or fruit bushes that you get like a variety and you want to plant more than one. So I typically plant a minimum of 3, but usually knowing me, I usually get 6 or 8. And I usually try and get like 2 or 3 different varieties just to help with the pollination process, which means we're going to get a better harvest as well. It's been really hard working around the garden, especially since it's been so wet. The mosquitoes have just been crazy. And then the black flies actually weren't too bad. They were like just insane for a couple of weeks, but then the deer flies came out. So it's just a nonstop roller coaster with bugs. But I was so happy to finally see the dragonflies. I don't know if you can see it here, but we had oodles and oodles of dragonflies. On this particular day was when they just came out like full force. Like when this usually happens, when we see swarms of dragonflies like this, we know that there's better days ahead. As I'm going around, I'm checking out to see what's going on with the rest of my garden, and the haskaps are doing phenomenal. Like it's not like they're like my number one favorite fruit. I think almost anyone can grow haskaps because they are like zone 3 or 4. They are the first thing to give me fruit, and they give an abundance of fruit. Like we got so many haskaps. We shared them with some neighbors. We had some people come over and pick some as well. And they're always the first thing that comes up with the asparagus. Typically within our garden here, we have planted a variety of perennial fruits. So usually the haskaps come up, and then usually it's the cherries next, and the currants, and the raspberries, and then the blueberries, and then the apples. We have pears and plums, but they haven't given us fruit yet. But there's always something at a different time. So it's nice to see the haskaps because we know now it's like fruit season, and we're going to have fruits pretty much until fall. So that's amazing. I don't know, it's probably like the 18th or 20th of June now. And there's the last thing I have to get in. Where I do my potatoes, I'd like to move them to a new spot next year, but it's just not quite doable yet this year. But this is probably the lowest spot in our garden. So it was the last to dry up. And that being said, we have never had an issue with potato bugs. And the reason being, an old farmer once told me that, and some friends have shared it with me as well, is if you plant after a specific time in June, you actually miss the potato bugs. So I have kept that as a rule that I plant them later in June and miss out on all those bugs. And surprisingly, we still get a great harvest as long as it wasn't like a year last year. Last year, we lost so many potatoes because it was so wet and they all rotted. I think the year before, we harvested about 200 pounds of potatoes. So usually I'm planting a couple, 10, 20, 30, 40 pounds of potatoes. This year, I'm lucky if I got 10 pounds of potatoes to plant. They're so small from last year. You can see the ones with the really long little root things. Those are from the garden that actually survived the garden because it was so wet last year. And then we had to go out and buy some new ones, which are the red potatoes you can see there. And we're just going to hopefully increase our yield this year. We're just getting those in the ground. I know they'll grow eventually. It's a bit late, but we'll still be able to harvest them in the fall. I basically was tilling the garden and then I dug a big trench and buried them. So we're able to basically get that done in just a couple hours because we were expecting rain again. So you know me and you've been watching our channel, I typically always plant right before a rain or at least a day before a rain. So I know that it's going to get a good watering. I'm going to throw a video out very shortly on just how things are going and how things are blooming and how things are progressing in the garden. So stick around for that. Looking forward to hearing how you have been doing this year. Anyways, till next time, take care.